Hello everyone, this is lecture 11 of the subject analog circuits. So, before this class from lecture 1 to lecture 10, I was discussing the topics related to unit 1. This topic is mentioned in unit 2, that is the frequency response of common source amplifier. So, firstly we need to understand that what is frequency response and why we are interested in the frequency response. So, in this class we will discuss about the capacitances, internal capacitances, then high frequency response of CS amplifier. Now, see, in unit 1 we have calculated the voltage gain, fine, and when we have calculated that voltage gain V naught upon Vi. So, that voltage gain, in fact, the overall voltage gain that we had calculated, that is V naught upon V sig. So, when we had done these calculations in last unit in common source amplifier, then we have neglected the effect of the coupling capacitors and bypass capacitors. Now, you can see the circuit here. This is your MOSFET and MOS, the signal that is to be amplified, that is your V sig, and the internal resistance of this signal source is R sig. And we give this signal to the gate of the MOSFET through a capacitor that is called coupling capacitor. It is called coupling capacitor because it couples the input signal to the gate of the MOSFET. We take the output from the drain terminal, we do not take it directly. Again there is a coupling capacitor involved here, that is CC2, and here from here we get the output. This is your load resistance RL and this is your drain resistance RD and this is your supply voltage VDD. Further, for biasing purpose we have connected a DC current source here minus VSS, and here there is another capacitor, that is CS, that is called bypass capacitor. Now, see, in this particular circuit, this circuit we have already analyzed in unit 1. There we had assumed that these coupling capacitors and the bypass capacitors are acting as a perfect short circuit. So, we have neglected the effect of these capacitors. We have assumed the perfect short circuit. So, we have neglected the effect and we have calculated the voltage gain there. But now we need to understand that when we consider these capacitors, then what will be the effect of these capacitors on the voltage gain of the amplifier. And these coupling capacitors CC1, CC2 and CS, these are the external capacitors and it is of higher value, it is in microfarad range. And there is another capacitance that is called parasitic capacitance, that is your internal capacitance that is formed inside the MOSFET. So, we need to understand the effect of the internal capacitance on the voltage gain of the amplifier and the effect of external capacitors on the voltage gain of the amplifier. And obviously, if the capacitor is involved, that means some frequency is involved. So, the behavior of the capacitor, it will change at low frequency, it will change at high frequency, and due to that change then we will see that the gain is reduced, fine. So, before I go to that point, before that just we need to understand what are the different internal capacitances of the MOSFET, what are the different capacitances internally involved. So, there are two kinds of capacitors, one is your gate capacitive effect, another is junction capacitive effect. Junction capacitances, in gate capacitive effect there are three capacitors, one is your gate to source, another is gate to drain and the third one is gate to body. These are the gate capacitive effect, gate capacitance, capacitances formed due to gate, these are the internal capacitances. Junction capacitances means that is formed at the junction. So, there is a junction in the MOSFET, you know that this is your N plus source, N plus drain and this is your P type. So, this is your junction, PN junction, this is your junction. So, the capacitance is formed at the junction, that is called junction capacitance, and these capacitances are your source to body and drain to body, because this P type is your body substrate, fine. So, these are the internal capacitance. let us quickly review the values of these capacitances first, and starting with the gate capacitive. So, these capacitors are formed, of course, we know that in the devices part which we have studied, due to the formation of the gate electrode. Because of the formation of this gate electrode forms the parallel plate capacitor with the channel, fine. It is acting as a parallel plate capacitor, like in BJT also you see that the two regions are acting as a parallel plate, and in between there is a dielectric that is acting as a that depletion region is acting as a dielectric. So, it forms a capacitor. We have not connected any capacitor internally to the device, but it forms the capacitor, that is your internal capacitor, fine. So, this value of gate to source and gate to drain in triode region, it is 1 by 2 W into L into COX. W is the width of the channel, L is the length of the channel, COX is the oxide capacitance. The value is approximately same because in triode region the channel is of uniform depth, but in saturation region since the channel is pinched off at the drain end, that is why the gate to drain capacitance is 0 in case of saturation region, fine. Ideally we have considered it is 0, practically the value of CGD is very small. So, many times we neglect this CGD because in saturation region the channel is pinched off, fine, and the gate to source capacitance is more here 2 by 3 W into L into COX. Next is in cutoff region, since there is no channel, so your gate to source, gate to drain capacitance is 0, but here the gate to body capacitance is more, that is W into L into COX. And apart from these capacitances, there is an additional capacitor that is called overlap capacitance. This overlap capacitance is formed because in MOSFET structure we know that this N plus source, heavily doped source and heavily doped drain, there is a silicon dioxide layer below which this source and drain is there. So, there is some overlapping here, there is some overlapping here, there is a overlapping between SiO2 layer and this source diffusion and drain, fine. So, this capacitance, this overlap capacitance, it results from the fact that the source and drain diffusions extend slightly under the gate oxide. There is some overlapping, due to that overlapping this capacitance is formed, that is called COV, and the value of COV is W into LOV. LOV is the overlap length over which overlapping occurs. The value of the overlap length, it is approximately 0.05 to 0.1 L. So, this is just the small introduction of the gate capacitances and their values. Next one is the junction capacitance. The equation for junction capacitance is, the first one is your source to body, the second one is drain to body. The source to body is CSB naught upon under root 1 plus VSB upon V naught. CSB naught is the value of the CSB at 0 body source bias, VSB is the reverse bias voltage, because you know that source to body, that is the reverse bias. V naught is the junction built in voltage, that is approximately 0.6 to 0.8 volt. For the drain diffusion, we have the drain to body capacitance, that is CDB, and the equation is CDB naught upon under root 1 plus VDB upon V naught, and CDB naught. What is CDB naught? It is the capacitance value at the 0 reverse bias voltage, and VDB, it is the magnitude of the reverse bias voltage. So, this is just the equation of the junction capacitances formed just for reference purpose, fine. That is why we are not doing any derivation of these equations, fine. Just for knowledge purpose we should know that, because we need to understand the effect of these internal capacitances on the performance of the common source amplifier. Next is your high frequency MOSFET model. So, before high frequency MOSFET model, we need to understand that what is the common, what is the frequency response, See, frequency response curve, we normally draw it in between voltage gain in dB and frequency. On x axis there is a frequency, and on y axis there is a voltage gain in dB, Now, see, in unit 1, since we have neglected all the capacitors, so we have directly calculated the value of the voltage gain, and we were thinking that this voltage gain is there for all frequencies, but it does not happen actually. That voltage gain is not constant for every frequency. That voltage gain is reduced at low frequency and at high frequency. So, in mid frequencies we get the maximum gain. That maximum gain is called your mid band gain AM, and at low frequency the gain is reduced, and the high frequency, at high frequency the gain is reduced. So, at low frequency the gain is reduced due to the external capacitors, those are coupling capacitors and bypass capacitors, and at high frequency the gain is reduced due to internal capacitances, due to internal capacitances. Fine. Now, we need to understand that why it is happening so. Why at low frequency your coupling capacitors, external capacitors plays an important role, and at high frequency your internal capacitances, it plays an important role. Right. So, before that we should be aware that the values of this CC1, CC2, CS, it is in microfarad range, that is high, and values of the internal capacitances, it is very less, it is in the range of picofarad and femtofarad. Fine. Now, see, we know the capacitive reactance impedance, that is 1 by SC. Now, just see to it, since the value of the coupling capacitor, since the value of the coupling capacitors are more, if it is more, it means that your capacitive reactance will be less. If the reactance is less, then we can say that the coupling capacitor is acting as a short circuit. So, we have assumed that. So, from here you can see that everything seems fine, because capacitor value is more, so reactance is less. So we have already considered we have already considered that the coupling capacitors are acting as a short circuit. What is the issue? The issue is that it is acting as a short circuit, but at low frequency, when your S is the frequency, when we go at low frequency, then the capacitive reactance, it will increase. At low frequency the capacitive reactance will increase, impedance will increase, capacitive impedance will increase. It means that now the coupling capacitor will no longer be a short circuit, it can be open circuit at low frequency, because the capacitive impedance is increasing here. That is the issue. That is why at low frequencies, since the coupling capacitors are no longer acting as a perfect short circuit, that is why the gain, voltage gain is reduced at low frequency, but at mid and high frequency no issue of these coupling capacitors. And what about these internal capacitances? Just see to it, Xc is equal to 1 by Sc. Now, the value of these internal capacitances are very less. So, value is very less, your capacitive impedance, it will be very high. So, normally we consider that these internal capacitances, parasitic capacitances are acting as a open circuit. So, there is no effect of that internal capacitances, but what happens at high frequency? At high frequency, when your S is high, then your Xc will be reduced. Xc is reducing, means what does it mean? It means that now your internal capacitances will no longer behave as a short circuit, no longer behave as a open circuit, sorry, it will no longer behave as a open circuit, because at high frequency your reactance is less, your impedance, capacitive impedance is less. So, now your internal capacitances will no longer will act as a open circuit. Now, it will play the role, and the role is at high frequencies, due to these internal capacitances the gain is reduced. So, the conclusion is that at low frequencies, since the coupling capacitance no longer act as a short circuit, that is why the gain is reduced, and at high frequencies, since the internal capacitances no longer behave as a open circuit, that is why the gain is reduced. And obviously, for any amplifier at high frequency the gain will be reduced, because if there is a transistor, whether MOSFET or BJT, there will be internal capacitances, and due to internal capacitances the gain will be reduced at high frequency. The frequency may be higher, maybe 1 megahertz, 10 megahertz, 100 megahertz, but it will reduce, the gain will reduce at high frequency, because the internal capacitances will be there, it will be there in the device. But if we do not use coupling capacitors, then of course, at low frequency the gain will not reduce, but this is not in our case. Here we are considering the discrete circuit, and in discrete circuit we connect the coupling capacitors. In discrete circuit we connect the coupling capacitor, and of course, in IC designing we do not use these coupling capacitors, because the values of these coupling capacitors are in microfarad range, and such a high value cannot be fabricated in IC designing. But here we are considering discrete circuit, that is why we have considered the coupling capacitors and its effect on the frequency response, and the effect is due to these coupling capacitors, external capacitors, the gain is reduced at the low frequency. This is just the introduction of the frequency response, that is the voltage gain in dB versus frequency. This is called your frequency response of the common source amplifier. Now, see, this is your high frequency MOSFET model. High frequency means, now just understand it, high frequency means now we are going to consider the internal capacitances. Since we know that at high frequency, due to internal capacitance the gain is reduced. So, in high frequency MOSFET model we consider all the internal capacitances. These capacitances are gate to drain, gate to source, source to body, drain to body, fine. And if we are considering the body effect, then we add one more dependent source, that is your GMB into VBS, GMB into VBS. This is in fact more complicated model. So, we come to the second circuit. In this circuit, now we have assumed that the gate is short, the source is shorted to the body, that is why this CSB is removed here. This CSB is removed here, and also for further simplification, in order to simplify the calculation part, we also neglect this drain to body capacitance, and after doing these simplifications, the final model is this. So, in the final model we are considering only two internal capacitances, one is gate to source, another one is gate to drain, and also the value of this gate to drain, it is very less in saturation region, it is 0 although, but practically it is very less, fine. So, sometimes in order to further simplify the calculation we neglect this CGD also, but in saturation, only in saturation, and normally we consider amplifiers, we go for amplifiers. So, obviously, the MOSFET it will be amplified in saturation. So, in saturation the value of CGD is very less. So, sometimes in order to simplify the equations we neglect this CGD. The remaining things are same. R naught, it is due to your channel length modulation, early effect, fine. So, we can neglect it in discrete circuit, but in IC designing no. In IC designing this R naught plays a big role, but in discrete circuit we can neglect. So, you can compare these models with the earlier model which you have seen in unit 1. The only difference is there we have not considered these internal capacitances. Here now this is high frequency model. In high frequency model we consider the internal capacitances, and the remaining concept is same. The remaining concept of drawing the model is same, that I have already discussed in lecture 7. In lecture 7 and in lecture 8 in a small signal model of MOSFET, you can see lecture 7, 8, fine. Just we have connected these internal capacitances here. Now, see one important term in MOSFET is MOSFET unity gain frequency, that is also called transition frequency. This MOSFET unity gain frequency, it is defined as the frequency at which the short circuit current gain of the common source configuration it becomes unity. So, we have to calculate the short circuit current gain for this particular model. Short circuit means the output is shorted. So, the current output current is I naught, the input current is II. Finally, we have to calculate the value of I naught upon II from this model. Now, you can see that if you apply KCL at this node, so incoming current is equal to outgoing current, and just consider this R naught is very high, this R naught is very high. So, there is no current flowing through R naught, just consider it for simplification purpose. So, your KVL equation it will be the incoming current equal to outgoing current, and what is the current flowing through this CGD? It will be the voltage drop across CGD. Now, you can see that the one terminal of CGD and CGS that is connected and another terminal is also connected, you can see here this is also connected. So, your CGS and CGD are in parallel in fact, fine, and obviously if CGS and CGD are in parallel. So, the same voltage will appear across CGD also. So, the what will be the current flowing through CGD? The current flowing through CGD, it will be the voltage upon impedance, that impedance is 1 by SC, 1 by SC, that C is CGD. So, it can be written as VGS into SCGD. So, this is the current flowing through CGD capacitor, fine. Now, once you understand it, then now we can neglect this CGD, because CGD is very small, CGD is very small. So, we can neglect this term minus S into CGD into VGS. If it is neglected, then your I naught will be GM into VGS. Now, from this circuit, from this model, we can calculate the value of VGS. Your VGS will be the current upon total impedance. The total impedance is CGS plus CGD. CGS plus CGD will be there because CGS and CGD are in parallel, and if the two capacitors are connected in parallel, then those capacitors are added. That is why VGS is equal to II upon II. VGS is equal to current into impedance, current is II into total impedance, that is 1 by SC, capacitive impedance is 1 by SC, and the total C is CGS plus CGD, since CGS and CGD are in parallel, fine. So, just put the value of VGS in the equation of I naught and just rearrange the terms and find out the value of I naught upon II. I naught upon II, that is GM upon S into CGS plus CGD. Now, what is the short circuit current gain? It is the short circuit, the unity gain frequency, in fact it is the frequency at which the short circuit current gain, that is I naught upon II, it is 1. So, putting S equal to j omega and just replace this omega with omega t, and at this omega t is I naught upon II is equal to 1. That is the definition of transition frequency. It is the frequency at which the current gain is, short circuit current gain is 1. So, we can get omega t is equal to GM upon CGS plus CGD, and omega t it can be written as 2 pi ft. So, from here we get the equation for ft, that is GM upon 2 pi CGS plus CGD. One important observation, Ft, your transition frequency is directly proportional to transconductance of MOSFET. So, if the transconductance is more, then your transition frequency will be more, and if your internal capacitances CGS and CGD are more, then Ft will be less. This is an important relation of unity gain frequency of the MOSFET. So, I was discussing this frequency response of common source amplifier just to make you understand that why we are interested in capacitors, So, we have seen that due to internal capacitances the gain is reducing at the high frequency, due to external capacitors the gain is reducing at the low frequencies. Now, one more thing which I want to mention here, the curve which we are getting here, that is on x axis there is a frequency, on y axis this is your voltage gain in dB, So, the curve is like this one, this is your maximum gain, that is called your midband gain, that is in dB, and two important terms are defined here, one is FL and another one is FH. FL is called lower 3 dB frequency, FH is called upper 3 dB frequency, and these frequencies are also called minus 3 dB frequency. FL is called lower minus 3 dB, FH is upper minus 3 dB, and from here we calculate the bandwidth of the common source amplifier, that is FH minus FL, upper corner frequency minus lower corner frequency, that is your bandwidth of the amplifier. So, in the frequency response of the common source amplifier we have to study two things. Firstly, we will study the high frequency response of the common source amplifier. There we will see that how the internal capacitances is affecting the performance of the common source amplifier. Then we will study the low frequency response of the common source amplifier, there we will consider coupling capacitors, effect of coupling and bypass capacitors. Fine. So, in the frequency response of CS amplifier, we need to study two responses, the high frequency response and the low frequency response, because this is very important, because practically there will be internal capacitances and due to that the gain will be reduced at the high frequency. So, we need to understand that how our transistor, how our amplifier is behaving, what is the performance, because before this class when we have not considered any capacitors, then we just know that yes, the gain is constant, but actually practically the gain is not constant at all frequency, the gain is reducing at high frequencies, it is definite, but at low frequency it will reduce, because we are considering the coupling capacitors here, but if we are not using coupling capacitors, bypass capacitors, then gain will not reduce at the low frequency, but at this state do not be confused. Fine. Since this is the discrete circuit and in discrete circuit we connect these coupling capacitors. So, definitely at low frequency you will see the curve like this, the gain it will reduce at the low frequency, since we are considering the external capacitors, coupling and bypass capacitors. Fine. So, in the further classes we will discuss about the low and high frequency response of common source amplifier. This is the reference. Thank you.